No one warned us. No one said you were going to lose both engines at a lower altitude than any jet in history. This was dual engine loss at 2,800 feet, followed by an immediate water landing with 155 souls on board. No one has ever trained for an incident like that.
I was wondering, the US is going right now through a very interesting political turmoil. And this film depicts something that reunites people, because right now everything is getting very divided. Do you think that these kind of films help to actually do that? And how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think that's one of the primary responsibilities of film and theater, ever since the beginning of time, was to teach, to learn, to show. And this film certainly is an excellent representation of ordinary people doing their jobs, coming together for survival. You know, there are so many crises around the world, you know, and usually people do the right thing. You know, when they're with their family or their friends or the community comes together. They help each other, they care for each other, and that's what this movie's about. And sometimes, especially when you're going through an election or there's you know, a debate in whatever country it is around the world, you know, people tend to divide themselves into camps and they isolate each other and usually, you know, end up fighting each other. And I don't know that that's always the best answer, you know. So I think this has definitely struck a chord in America.
And certainly the film deals with not necessarily villains, but it has antagonists. And I think it has to do a lot with your acting, and your acting with Tom Hanks. The characters are never victims of, they never feel like victims. They're just doing their jobs, as you said. It's about professionalism. Were those decisions made on set? Were those decisions already on the script? How did you?
You know, that's an interesting question. I think it comes from Tom, or Clint. First of all, Clint. You know, well, the script basically just lays out the story, and Sully himself is a very matter-of-fact guy. He's very meticulous. He's a quiet person. He doesn't speak much, and that's who we're embodying. So we're taking the tone of the movie off of Tom's performance. So all of us around Tom are there to support him and to check out his rhythms and see how he's working, and then sort of dance around him. And then Clint's a very quiet man. He, you know, is very economical and very efficient, and he sets the tone. So you fall into a natural, very subtle rhythm with these guys, and I think that's why the movie works, because we're not preaching to the audience. We're not hitting them over the head. We're just telling the story, and that's why I think Clint is so effective. And the villains, as you speak of, the NTSB hearing, people just cannot believe that these guys would be questioned, that their actions would be questioned. You know, they were so clearly heroic in their actions, and everybody survived. And it was one of the only successful water landings ever. And people would say, well, why would you even question? But that's the responsibility of the NTSB. And that's how they learn, and so they were just doing their jobs.
Exactly, and that's where I wanted to get. The film deals with how these legal parameters sometimes dehumanize these kind of processes, and also how technology is taking over the human factor in so many equations, like banks, parking lots, even pharmacies in the States. You know, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about people losing their jobs to machines?
Well, I'm an old man, so I like it when people actually mattered, you know, that drove their own cars, but that's technology, and you have to go with the flow, and that's the way the world's going. Now the question is, how do you fit into that? How do you remain human? Remain who you are with the new way of doing things. And you know, I think our biggest sort of surprise is the autonomous car. Wait, I can get in a car and not do and punch in a coordinate and it'll take me there safely in the midst of all this traffic on the freeways and making decisions for me. I think that that's a huge leap of trust. I'm not totally ready to go there yet. But you know, I had pilots come up to me and say, listen, you have to tell people that we're not just bus drivers, that we're actually up there flying the plane, doing our jobs, that we take our responsibility as pilots very seriously, that we know that we have people's lives in the balance. And so I feel more confident in air travel after having done this movie than before.
Do you think that that humanity is getting lost because we overthink things too much, as the characters from the auditing, they overthink the heroism that, as you said, is right there. It is no questioning, but sometimes we tend to think too much.
I think that social media and the 24-hour news cycle has definitely put pressure on us to label and categorize us, always, to immediately fit us into a category. Oh, he's a hero. Oh, he's a villain. He's this. I personally don't believe that we will ever lose our humanness. It's impossible because we're human beings. We might do things a little different and hold things that are a little different, but we can never lose our heart and our soul. And that's at the end of the day, when a crisis happens, when this happens, when there's an earthquake or a tsunami, people come together as human beings and for our survival. So we'll never lose that. We just dress differently.
The film depicts a real life situation with real people that actually happened. But yesterday you said that Clint is a director that lets you, dance your own rhythm in a way. Isn't that a risk to feel that freedom, and how do you not lose?
Well, because we have a great blueprint, which is the script. So we're never going to get away from the script. Plus, you have to know your role and responsibility in the film. We're working off Tom. Tom's the protagonist in the movie, and Tom sees the character because he has Sully, Captain Sullenberger, right there with them. We know what the template is, so we're not going to get too much off base. I think when we talk about following our instincts, it's all about timing. It's all about making it real and human and that sort of thing. And I think you have to experiment, and Clint knows that too. I mean, Clint's a great actor.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Pleasure.